Let us turn a video into a 3D point cloud and use the tight link between the image and the point cloud to get a very sound understanding of the scene using SAM models, so unsupervised, or open vocabulary approaches to get a more refined approach by just drawing kind of features we want, but also covering what would be the best human-in-the-loop approach to be super efficient toward our goal. For example, if we would like to extract a slice from where we get measurements. For most major workflow in 3D, we really need to go much more beyond geometry, and this is something I've stuck around for very long. Today, I'm going to show you how to do just that by leveraging the latest technique, and I will focus on specific ones that leverage both point cloud and images. So first, I developed this tool video to 3D. I will not extend on that, but essentially, the idea is to take any video, very poor one, where we don't have any knowledge about photogrammetry and such, so that the way you acquire the data, you can do very nonsense data path and data acquisition and still get a result. So we'll dive deeper in another session, but let me run it. So the 3D reconstruction is done, and this is the result. If you want to see the video, I will open it. So if I do that, and I open it here, this is the input video. So we take this video, you see the mess that my kids did in the morning, and I will not blame only my kid, of course. There are other people that make a mess in the house. But the idea is to use this very crappy video to then be able to do planning. So for example, here you can see something that I built, and I built it entirely using point clouds without taking a single measurement, and it fits like I was very close, right? So this is the kind of thing that I want to showcase. How do you go from there to a 3D geometry and then extend that to have actually understanding about the space? This is the table, this is the chair, it's next to the table, and so on. And we need to decomplexify, if that's the word, all the steps. So after the reconstruction, you will see already one use case about where it's important. So as you can see, we are upside down. So in most software, what we do is we will take it, rotate it, and adjust it how we want it. But here already, what about trying to orient it, because it's a gravity-based constraint? What about orienting it based on the floor? So what I did is, of course, leverage a plane picking mechanism where we click a single point, it runs, and we have automatic alignment. So this is done using the class that I'm going to show and clarify, but not in this video, maybe another one, that is part of the 3D shape detection algorithm. One specific algorithm is used here. Okay, so we have our scene oriented. How could semantic be useful aside of geometry if we want to get closer to this kind of digital twin thinking, right? So that's where it's interesting. If I click on semantics, I have various things, but what I do here is I will click identify, and automatically you see that we identify that this is an indoor room, and I can apply a scale based on the size of a reference that the ceiling is 2.5 meters high, and we have an entire scene that is scaled and that represents what I've captured with my phone in a very crappy way. So of course I could extend on the geometric part, but that's not the goal here. The goal is really how can we turn that into something where we have the delineation of object efficiently. So if I look here, this is the kind of extra field that we have that tells me how confident a reconstruction was from the approach that I put in place. Let me go back on the classification is empty, and we have the height, this is okay, and the color. So we can leverage all of this. But I think the more complex, the more interesting part here is we have a point cloud and we have images. All of them are in a scene, and they are here, which means that if we have a tight link between the point clouds and the images, we could work in the image space and recognize the various components there, and then try to project it somehow to have it anchored on the 3D point cloud. Or we can use the point cloud and use a shape detection algorithm to find specific features that we're interested in and have it directly there. So today, let me focus on this tight link between images and point cloud. You've seen already how leveraging a specific model that will detect what kind of room we are in based on the image allow me to actually tune or fine-tune the results. Now let me use a combination of segment anything model and clip to have proposed segments and then label them instead of having a bunch or a soup of segments. So if I were to run unsupervised segmentation, let me just show you very quickly. If I were to do that, I would just run it without even adjusting. So imagine here, I've used a derivative of region growing approach, and in about 5 seconds, we have this soup of segments. So this is fine, right? We could then explode it to understand better the constitution of the various components, and then go ahead and label each individual one of them. That would be quicker than labeling each point. But of course, we want to be faster and maybe know that this point belongs to the wall, this segment is also a wall, this segment is the ceiling, and so on. So let me move into this using segment anything model and clip that will be able to take the segment and use the model to predict the class. So if I do that, this is all, for example, what I've built in this auto-classifying component, and this is what we do at the 3D Geodata Academy, how we implement this kind of components. So we get the results. The result is interesting because we have various components, and it's there is a bit also of ambiguity. So we have the walls, we have the ceiling, we have some components a bit aware. It's not the best one out there. So the idea is then, how can we refine that? And we have another possibility that I want to show you. Like I could do that and say that is the ground. So if I have floor, I will click it here and I will ask him to propagate so that he makes it a floor. And you see, this is what he did. Or I could do that here as well. So this way we could refine, right? And what is underlying is specific algorithm that will grow based on my existing segment and refine. So as you can see, usually, the answer is not led by one single algorithm or one single approach. Really, it's about how you tune everything together in a system where you have a human in the loop and how much human do you want in the loop and at which stage. So this is a very good example. Another solution that we could do, and I can show that to you right away, is use the images in another way, very, very smart one. So here, what about using one image, tagging a specific object in that image, and trying to find the correspondence of this specific object on all the images that we have, and then projecting that with this tight link between the image and the point cloud to the actual scene. So if I take this image, so here what I do is I define my outline. I try to be as precise as possible, but I go a bit quick, so it's not all perfect to get the sofa. I use the outline, I say it's sofa, and then what I do is propagate. The thing is, I forgot to turn on my camera, so I already did the trick. So this is why you see already the sofa that is red, but let me show you the actual work that happens. So essentially, this is also built on a DINO v2 backend in this sense that will be able to use an open vocabulary to know that this is the sofa that we want. And you see, in most of the image, I got my sofa. If there is an image that I don't want to use, like this one, because here it's labeled, I deactivate it, and that's about it. When I'm happy, I would say confirm, and it will automatically, you see, label my scene with the sofa. And I could do the same maybe for the table. So now, if I go here, and I just select the table and all that is in it, okay, use outline, and propagate. And then we can see if it makes sense or not. Some are to be deactivated. I changed something so it's not as accurate as before. But here we have the table, we have the table, we have the table, we have parts of the table, so let's use it. And yeah, here it's also good. So let's confirm and see. Oh, I made sofa. This is a mistake, so he makes it sofa. And then we could relabel this way. So that's a second solution where we leverage or we refine with this human in the loop. Of course, the goal here is to try to converge as quick as possible to the final solution. But as you can see, we didn't have to train anything. We used pre-trained weights, pre-trained models. All that was left for me to do is orchestrate everything and make sure that I find the way that minimize the human in the loop component and maximize the efficiency and precision. Precision-wise, there is work to be done. So for example, there's a thing that I'm working on to have a spatial consistency check. We can push even more, and we've seen a lot. So what is very key, And what is the key learning point here? So the first one is image to point cloud. Whenever you have a point cloud, today it's very important to work in the image space as well, but have a very tight link. And what you don't see is when I built my point cloud with the 3D reconstruction engine that I put in place, I actually make sure that I keep a very tight link between the pixel and the point generated so that I don't have to do depth test afterwards. But also, this means that whenever you don't want flicker, so one label from this camera, one another from the other camera, there is a spatial consistency check that will sort out based on the distances of the points. So there is a data structure on top. But that's the first thing, the tight link between your image and your point cloud. The second thing is which strategy you use in the image space. I've talked about 3 here that I've put in place. The first one is segment anything model. This is a foundation model. I've written and shot a lot of video about that, so I think it's already something where you can get the code openly. Clip as well, something that I've covered a lot, and DINO, which is this open vocabulary extension. So with that, you can do a lot of things in the image space. And then, because you have the link, you can have all sitting on the point cloud space. So that means that really what matters a lot is this coherency between your point cloud and your image. You need to have a very high level of coherence that all is pretty well aligned. So that's maybe the thing that you want. Of course, here, these images are taken from the video, this one that we've seen before, but you can actually generate fake point of views, and this is something that we can do as well here, to then leverage a segment anything of things like this. So if I were to show you that, if I do a segment anything on the scene, VATB, let me run it. In here, what it does, it will generate a panorama, and then run the automatic version of STAM, where I will prompt in specific direction. But again, this is something where you really need to have the knowledge about how to set that up. All of this is covered in what I do at the 3D Geodata Academy, and I try to also push as much as I can to help you and clarify what you can do, what you cannot do, and where to invest today your expertise and your knowledge. So this is, for example, the result that we have from the segment anything. And if I want to show you, this is okay. I understand why. This is the panorama. There is something that I need to fix. It's not correct, so I create this cube map thereafter, and that's the labels in the 2D image space, you see? And then after, in the 3D space, this is what you get. So this is all about understanding and putting that in place in the most coherent manner. What I always advise is try to go and aim for high level of frugality, but also, as you can see, there is a very important stage that is the refinement step. How do you refine? And how do you make sure that the human in the loop component is used at the best moment, and the energy that you put in place is really the best possible? I've showed you a lot. On my end, I will work a lot on making sure that it is even better. Just to close the loop, maybe, at the end, here we have the ability to export PLY, textured mesh. Also, we can 3D print it, and the 3D Gaussian splatting with the train. This will be for another time. But what I want to show you is that I like to create floor plans as well. I will leave it like this and export a slice. So I just want to show you that sometime, let me download it, the slice. You don't necessarily need to go into heavy deliverable creation. This is all handled here. I have my PDF or the interactive version. Let me show you the PDF that you get. And this is it. This is something, so here what you see, this very nice wood stuff. I bought actually pieces to create a kitchen, but then I wanted to make it for the family. So this is where I said, no, let not take a measurements, and I did everything from my slice. And from my slice, I'm able to take the dimensions. So here it's a bit rough, you need to handle point clouds, but you can add more components there. So I could also, if I don't want to work there, I could have also here extracted automatically. If I get very nicely my cupboard, then I get my dimension automatically. If I don't want to do that automatically, well, I just take 2 points. I know it's about 2 meta, and I will design it like this. At this stage, because the capture is very crappy, it's a bit risky, but that's what I want to bring to the masses. So this is why I do it this way. Of course, it is very different from my metric mind as an early lens surveyor back in the days, where this is the kind of thing you try to avoid. But today, you can still do a lot with that. And as you can see, having this semantic layer will improve a lot what we see there. and would allow to automatically get there and actually order the right amount of foods based on my dimension. I will stop there. This is just to show you what you can do today. If these are the kind of thing that excites you and you want to build that, go to the Academy. There is a lot of free content if this is what you are in for. If you're serious about making a business around it, I recommend going through the 3D AI Architect program. It's the best ever that I designed, and hopefully this helps you actually unlock all this technical and vision challenge that you may have. And if you need to push that beyond, if you are already an established companies, and if you want to reach out to me, I only take in people that already took the course so that we have the same language and it's quicker to iterate. Have a great day. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.